And so, what should mothers consider in a post-pandemic world to continue breastfeeding safely in public?
Okay, so thank you ma'am for that question. So, actually, di ba, mas speak Ilonggo. Lift na nga aton nga COVID restrictions, right? But we need to still put extra caution sa aton nga pagpa-breastfeed. So, although nga vaccinated ang aton mga nanay, we still need to wear face mask, especially kung sick sila or not feeling well. But ang pagpa-breastfeed sa aton ng mga kabataan, nagataas pagid ang ila immunity. So, if you are breastfeeding, do continue lang na wala gina problem. And better gina-breastfeed mo ang imong mga baby kay ang iya immunity is naga-boost pagid na siya.
Right. Ms. Adhara, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I'd like to add that, breastfeeding COVID-19 when a mother is infected, no, it's hindi siya ma-transmit by breastfeed. Okay? And it's not just COVID that we're actually careful of. There are other illnesses. Okay? So, there are only few illness na pwede ma-transmit by breast milk. Number one is HIV infection. So, take note, with every illness a mother has, kung nakasakit ka mo, the mode of transmission, how it is transmitted. For example, there is respiratory virus or illnesses. So how is it transmitted? Okay, so how can you protect you and your child from being infected is mask, strict hand washing, the basic precaution na yun siya. And then also, there are only few illnesses. That's why there's experts that you can ask, no? Dapat evidence-based siya. Hindi nga pwede nga balan ka na, ay, hindi ka magpa-breastfeed, pinagamo ka na.
Yes.
Okay? So there are few contraindications, so it's still very important that you always ask directly from healthcare workers, from the experts, because we are very careful like that, because the social media, they have very mga information hindi siya evidence-based, especially the TikTok, everyone is sharing their own experiences, but make sure it's evidence-based, and it's approved by experts. So, before ka mo magpati, make sure nga hindi mo magkutan kung maanay before believing them, because ang goal is to protect breastfeeding.
Yes, right. And of course, to be able to continue breastfeeding even while we are sick. So while we are already in this topic, because I actually already have a question related to that, but since we're already talking about it, I would just like to expand on it. No? We've already mentioned when we should continue or when we can continue breastfeeding even when a mother is sick. But what are the instances that we should not? When a mother is ill, Ms. Adhara, ano nga mga
HIV infection?
HIV infection?
There is a guideline, so when their infection is present, those will be antiviral therapy among. And then other illnesses, if very rare, if the baby has resistance to lactose.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
all the few indications. So mostly human milk is made to be compatible sa human. So if there are some unhelpful advices telling you to stop breastfeed, so make sure you seek help from an expert.
Right.
A pediatrician who is breastfeeding supportive. Should you continue breastfeed or should you stop? So very few lang yan ng instances where a mother
should stop breastfeeding. Oh, and like what Miss Ivani said earlier, the more you're gonna breastfeed ang bata when a mother is sick, mas nagataas ang ilang immunity because our bodies produce antibodies to protect our child. And of course, I think you've already seen, especially for mothers who are pumping, nag-change ilang composition sa milk natin when we are sick. So that's really proof that we should continue to breastfeed because it's safe. Unless, of course, itong mga ginpang-mention ni Ms. Adhara, ang mga cases. And I know there are a lot of mothers who are also concerned about medication that they're taking. So aside from, like, for instance, HIV, Ms. Adhara, ano mga medications that are safe or generally safe?
But if you're a breastfeeding mom, you avoid self-medication. You always seek consult from your doctor because there are medications that are safe for breastfeeding. When it's labeled as safe for breastfeeding, it will not harm your baby. But there are medications that is not safe for your breast milk production or it can stop your production. So it's very important that you seek help from healthcare workers. So we lactation consultants, we work with pediatricians and internists to see if there are medications na safe. So almost all oral medications are safe. That's why make sure that before you take anything or you eat anything, check it at night. So seek help.
And to those who do not have easy access to doctors or siguro sa mga professionals, this is where our breastfeeding groups, our community is actually really helpful because we get to hear personal experiences from other breastfeeding mothers, and we see a lot of, if you're a member of the breastfeeding Ilongas or breastfeeding mom groups, you see a lot of questions usually na nag-arise when it comes to taking medications while breastfeeding. So that's where it comes in. And now my next question is for Ms. DB. So the milk code has expanded to require employees to provide a lactation room or the equivalent of a lactation room. So can you share with us how different employers with varying capacities and office sizes can still make this happen?
Okay. So one thing that we should bear in mind, even those who are just mall goers, clients, all establishments, all private establishments has to comply with the minimum requirement of establishing at least a lactation station. But in some instances, wherein establishments would have only 2 to 3 employees or ang mga kiosk lang na bala ang ilang set up, they are not immediately exempted to abide with providing a space or a lactating space. So there are models actually that they can follow. One is at least they can allocate a corner of their office, have a parang collapsible divider wherein the employees can lactate there, or they can also, if there is an existing clinic for those establishments with may capacity to have a clinic, dira na lang sa clinic man mismo ang ilang lactation station. And if the establishment has 100 to 199 employees or more, so it means ang establishment nandun ako. So may lactation room din with bed, with storage chairs, may storage area for the milk, extracted milk. And for those naman na medyo one-seater office lang giyabi, at least ang gina-require naman, may available lang cloth or curtain na pwede magamit sa lactating employee or even the clients na pwede nila magamit once na kinahanglanan nila
Breastfeed. I think this is also where the understanding of communities come in. Like, for instance, in some offices, mga banks, hindi tagid ma-expect ang mga lactation rooms. But when the employees or the management are kumbaga open sila sa breastfeeding, the idea of breastfeeding, sila na mismo, the community itself, ang nag-create na sang space for the breastfeeding mothers to feel comfortable while breastfeeding, even if it's not really a lactation room, even if it's just a seat lang. So, it's good to know that, may mga policy din na-implement sa aton ng mga employers at sa mga offices natin. Now, my next question is for Attorney Curly. So, SM has pioneered providing breastfeeding stations in your malls, as you mentioned earlier in your message. So, how have your programs for breastfeeding evolved over time in championing safe spaces?
Okay, let me just make first an observation. In the past, as I have observed in the malls, ang mga nanay sa magpa-breastfeed, magtago-tago pa na may lampin, may amo na. Pero subong, daw ay nagid na siya kaayo. So, we would like to say that even the culture of our people in looking at breastfeeding mothers has also evolved, no? So we are more of an accepting culture, di ba? Tayo kasi very conservative kasi ang Filipino culture eh. So karon do ay na mo katika, dali may lampin na panago, pagid, no? So, karon, wherever you may be, whatever your take, if you're comfortable with it, you will not also see people frowning at you, diba? So we have truly educated our madlang people ng Pilipinas, no? So, and that's why we here in SM, we continuously do our education campaign. Dati, so parang, dapat ma'am, dito ka mo, kadto ka mo diri home, wala na siya. But of course, we would like you to be more comfortable. That is why even our seats in SM breastfeeding stations have also become more comfortable, no, for our breastfeeding mothers. Tapos, syempre, if you see, may mga nurses kami that will be able to assist. So, kami sa SM or we in SM, we always benchmark from the best. No, so if you see that we have a mock-up breastfeeding station out there, sa ating exhibit, that is a mock-up that was provided to us by UNICEF. So we partnered with them. We had series of talks with them, no, kung ano na siya. So it's a UNICEF approved parang mock-up that we would like to put up and show na amo ni siya. So even as kung sometimes we ask also our nurses, no? So they get a call from us, or we do have a meeting that, okay, can you please check if you have this? If you don't have all of these things, you have to tell us. You have to tell your management so we can do some rectification. So we don't rest on our laurels. We don't rest on what is muna nang nabalaan naman all over sa panahon pa ni Lapu-Lapu. Hindi. So we always benchmark, we always learn, we always ask the experts. That is why kamo, yung mga partners nato, no, we always listen to them. We always seek guidance. Hindi pwede na SM all-knowing, hindi na siya amo. That's not how we do things. So we always get more information. We better ourselves because we partner with experts and we listen to what the people are saying. As much as possible, if we can change immediately or we can change for the better, then oo. But it takes some time. Sometimes, no, may dugay-dugay man. Pero eventually we'll get there. So thank you for all your help and support in making, our breastfeeding stations the way they are right now.
That's nice. Thank you for that, Attorney Pearlie. It's nice to know that SM not only cares, but of course they care through listening to the needs of the people inside the mall. And like what she said, SM Supermalls do not only improve the facilities, but they also educate the people to not discriminate, to be more comfortable around breastfeeding mothers, and to maybe to initiate helping, no, or offering support to these mothers. Hindi na nga magulat pa nga mangkuton kung hindi ang inyong muna. So, ba-offer na lang sila right away because gina-educate sila sa management. And that's really good to know. Now, my next question is for Ms. Adhara. As a mother yourself, I know that you have had a lot of maybe struggles man siguro while you were breastfeeding, and I know you've breastfed for a long time sa imong son. But how did you immediately understand mga struggles ng mothers na nag-ask for your support? Because I know a lot of moms go to you for help. So did you feel that you immediately understood what they're going through? And what do you think could make it easier for those like you as a breastfeeding mom and to all the other breastfeeding mothers na magka-safe space sila to open up and ask for more help?
Having worked directly with mother and child for more than 7 years, aside from my personal experience, is also learning more about breastfeeding. And not just the science behind it, but also meeting different women and also educating myself as well on how I support further. And with it, I collaborate with different organizations as well for the supportive and enabling environment to be more compact and more solid. So that's why as I work with women in the grassroots area directly with them, so we hear their concerns, we echo it to like for working mom, to dole, for when it comes to health, to doctors, to pediatricians, to hospitals, we give feedback. And then for their concerns, basically it's we listen. That's why there's support group, counseling, and then educating women. So what I share to them, may they share it to other women so that they may be also be inspired, and also they will know where to get help and where to get support. And then not only when it comes to breastfeeding, but also parenting and nurturing their child. So creating a safe space means a support, a solid support from the community, the whole community itself, from public, government, private facilities.
Right. Thank you for that. But I would like to ask again, no, our mothers, when it comes to receiving or getting support from the people around you, we already know that we have safe spaces or like Facebook groups, for example, or mga lactation rooms where we can get support and even from the doctors and nurses. But how about on a personal level naman, support naman nga, na feel nyo nga you're free to feed your child? So I'd like to ask other mothers again, maybe two mothers this time, nga, okay, sorry, ka-feed siya sa iyang child. But ma'am, can I ask you, just a very quick question lang. Na-feel mo man nga you're free to feed and sino or ang mga members ng community mo ang naka-impact gid no sa imo nga breastfeeding sa imo nga breastfeeding journey nga na-feel mo nga naging successful tungod sa iya support. You can mention a specific person or maybe a group no nga nag-help gid sa inyo.
Breastfeeding longest.
Okay, so mga parehas kita. But how about in your home, ma'am? Is there a specific person where you get support from kung mag-breastfeed ka?
I think everyone na narasa sa life, they do advantage sila sa breastfeeding.
So it's very important that we get the same kind of support from our family members. Okay, dili naman po kay ma'am, naka-white. Okay. Is this your first child, ma'am? Second child. Okay, so the same question lang. Do you ever feel that you are free to feed in the communities that you belong in? And sino ba yung specific person or mga group of people na nag-help din sa imo to be successful in this journey?
Ang partner ko get, ang first kid, and second, si Ma'am Joanna. Eh, ano siya, ang pinugusto ko pala, ginasuriya niya sa akin ng breastfeeding journey niya. Kag isang marubata ko, in-message, sabi siya, na-inspire ko, kay grabe, iyan ko niya. Tapos umagamo siya nagaan, so, siya man ang support ko.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I think I can also relate to that. No, we really get encouragement from people who walk the same path and who have been through struggles, who were successful, who were not. We all learn from these kinds of people. But I think it's very important, first and foremost, to get the kind of support that we need from our partners. Kasi lagi first hand beside us when we go through this journey. So I think in events like this, it's also very important for us to invite fathers as well, husbands, so that they will be able to understand more ang struggles sa mothers and to know which area ang maka-help sila. Right. Okay, next question is directed to Miss Didi again. So, the Milk Code provides breastfeeding mothers with an additional 40 minutes of paid break on top of the regular break to express milk while at work. So, what advice would you give to teams, leaders, or members in supporting this fully? And how can workplaces support a breastfeeding mother beyond just for compliance?
Okay. Honestly, in my own personal experience as a labor inspector, of course, we look into, of course, the compliance. First, the compliance of private establishments as to at least in the provision of a lactation station or some sort of guidelines or mode on how they can allow their employees to breastfeed. But as to the another mode of compliance na ginhambal ang paghahatag at least 40 minutes on top of the meal break, medyo hindi pa gina siya aware ang halos tanan nga establishments, especially those micro and small establishments. Kaya hindi man sila automatically accepted. But for the information of everybody lang, all employees, all lactating employees are entitled to have a 40-minute break whether continuous or aggregate. On top of its meal break na 1 hour sa lunch or may arabalan nga mode nga 30 minutes sa lunch, 30 minutes sa snacks for AM and PM. But regardless that, pwede sila establish isang policy nga 15 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes again in the afternoon, or 40 minutes kung gusto sang employee nga ginalagas niya bala ang milk sa iyang sigisigihon ko na lang sir or ma'am na pwede maka-continuous ako 40 minutes, then hindi pwedeng i-deny ni employer. But the company policy, of course, has to consult, there has to be a consultation first with the employees kung ano man ang gusto nilang mode. So that is, again, one of the modes aside from providing lactation stations for those establishments that cannot do so.
Okay, but I think even though like maybe in an ideal setup, may arrogance ang policy ang mga companies. But how about those naman hindi sila aware? Where can mothers ask for support sa mga cases when no one in the office, for example, is supportive of the breastfeeding journey? Where can sino pwede nila palapitan sa mga issues?
Well, if that would correspond to some sort of misunderstanding within the workplace, of course, they can always come at our office. Although breastfeeding is not solely only regulated by the Department of Labor and Employment, and of course, asang iban man nga government agencies, but if there are misunderstanding and that would affect employee-employee relationship just because of amo na ang provision. So, anytime si Dole maka-intervene and at least guide the employers on what to do just to, hindi lang for the sake of compliance. Amo lang na galing ang moving forward manamon, and we are actually working on it because lactation stations, providing lactation stations or allotting certain time to lactate is ang mindset is for the sake of compliance lang din eh. So we have to siguro at the part of Doliman, we have to intensify our advocacy on family welfare program because actually putting up lactation station is under our family welfare program na mandated man to all establishments to implement under our public health dimension. So instill namon is provision of lactation station or in supporting lactating mothers is not just about compliance but himuon na siya nga practice, so culture, because we need women in our establishments and it's just so happen that they are breastfeeding. So amo na siya ang moving forward man in the case of all.
Right. So basically what you're saying, Ms. DB, is companies should not only abide by this because it's a policy, but for us to be more human, maybe, to love women and children, no? Because we're doing this basically for the benefit of the children, Vidya. Okay, that's right. So, very beautifully put on. And another question I have for Attorney Purdy. So, why has SM chosen to advocate for a free-to-feed campaign? And what are your other programs in supporting this?
Okay, we have a program, as I said earlier, that's SM Cares for Women and Breastfeeding Mothers. So, very specific yung program, really dedicated to breastfeeding mothers. But our SM Cares for Women, it's more of programs to empower women and of course, prioritizing their health and welfare as well. So, it's not only breastfeeding awareness, but we also have breast cancer awareness. We also are supporting the Excellence Awards for the Women International Network for Disaster Risk Reduction, Asia Pacific, so together with the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. So these are programs that really empower women and look into the health and welfare of women because we recognize that women play a vital role in society. Even us in SM, a good majority of us are women, no? So in SM, there is no more glass ceiling to break, so to speak. We have had president, who was a woman in SM, no? So, syempre, we start with ourselves and we propagate what we have accomplished or what we learn and what we know of as part of women empowerment. And in the past, we also would like to highlight breastfeeding in different aspects. So, meron last year, in the past, we have had ACAB na, with so many groups all over the Philippines. And we somehow, yung mga grupo natin, they have evolved and they do their own ACAB na. So we also have evolved our programs. Last year we had paintings by local artists depicting breastfeeding mothers. So more than 400 plus artworks and more than 150 artists all over the Philippines participated. So this year, what we're advocating as well is through the lens of a camera naman because stories matter. So to show to the public that, wherever you may be, ano man yan, kung merong flower dyan sa likod nyo, may mga tao na nag-shopping, as long as you're willing to be photographed, and you can do wherever you want to breastfeed. Nobody will say, hindi ka pwede. Because freedom to choose whatever you want to do and to feed your child is yours and yours alone. We are just here to provide the venue and to remind people that this is a safe space and so should you whenever you go out. Kung there is a SM, you can do that. So it follows also na kung di ka mamakadto, pwede man na siya. So, because we recognize our footprint, no? So we have more than 3 million people all over the Philippines coming in and out of our malls. So if they see that in SM, okay, galing na siya. So it multiplies. There is a multiplier effect, no? So our social media campaign, our Facebook pages are full of this advocacies. So may mga pa-TikTok na contest kami. So in our little way, we are able to also amplify the message of government, that it's a safe space. We advocate breastfeeding and more so na alam natin the economic situation of most Filipinos. So, hindi dapat magkaroon ng stigma ang pagpapabreastfeed. In one of our discussions, some people are saying na kasi daw sa mga ibang mga communities, especially far-flung communities, if they see you as breastfeeding, ay na siya kwarta, no? Because nagpa-breastfeed siya, ay siya siguro pang bakal sa iba na mga milk bala. So, amo na siya. But no, it's not, no? So, we are slowly helping out because we believe that, private sector is a good partner of government. We are so very much into PPP, public-private partnership. So we partner with several government offices and even NGOs and people's organization and so many international organizations. We are a venue for all of this advocacies and we are happy that you continuously try to have your campaigns as well in our malls. No, it amplifies our message and of course we also have our media partners, no, that they also help us propagate all of these things. So salamat kaayo na we are all in this journey together, helping one another, and that's the most important thing of all, no? So the private sector cannot do it, the government cannot do it alone. You breastfeeding mothers cannot just do it alone kung wala ka mo sa support na nagahambal, okay lang na siya. And so this afternoon, we're very happy that you are all here and we are trying to unite for a very good cause. Amo lang na siya. Salamat.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Curly. There are little things that create a ripple effect, no? for us to be educated. Even those who have zero idea about breastfeeding, they get educated because of ang SM mismo, they gina-use nila nila platform to educate everybody that this is okay, this should not be considered nga hindi normal. Okay, so Miss Divy right here would like to add something to that.
Okay. I would just like to also appreciate the move of the SM because a few months back, actually they have requested for an orientation on the family welfare program so that we can institutionalize the family welfare program. And it's good to note that they are actually, although family welfare program or lactation, establishing lactation station is only one portion of the family welfare program, but this is already a check for in the case of SM. And as I am listening to attorney, I am already nagpapanumdum na ako sa pwede ko naman next na maobra in for the family welfare program since SM also is having MPs, micro and medium establishments in the mall. So we can intensify further the family welfare program and specifically the compliance or the establishment of lactation station in the workplace.
Wow, I think that's really awesome. Gitna no, nga SM pa ando kumbaga nag-spearhead sa mga amusin ng activities and sa ila ka pa makapos ng ideas on how you can intensify the campaign and your policies. Okay, last two questions, but this one goes to Miss Ivani. What programs does DOH have to create safe spaces for breastfeeding?
Okay, so thank you, ma'am. So we at the DOH, we provide or we conduct mother-baby friendly health facility initiatives for hospitals. So we also have the mother-baby friendly workplace. Dira naman kami nagasulod sa mga establishment. May ara kita ginatawag na inter-agency nga task force. So upod da namon ang Department of Justice, si DOLE, upod man da namon, FDA for EO51, and many other agencies ululupod kami dira for the task force for mother-baby friendly workplace. Of course, we also have the advocacy and campaign. So last August 2, I think we are here man sa SM to promote and advocate together with Ms. Adhara, the National Breastfeeding Month Awareness Campaign. And next, for us, the aton nga allied health nga mga practitioners, kami sa DOH nag-train kami, nag-capacitate kami from to lactation management nga mga trainings, aton nga gahatag kami sa mga counseling sa nanay. Kaya syempre, ang mga nanay naton need manila nga i-nourish ang ilang body mo. So, we at the DOH, as a nutritionist dietitian, we help the mothers, we educate the mothers paano sila magkaon insakto, ano nga mga food ang kaunon nila, intake nila, so that ang ilang milk production magdamo and makakontinue sila breastfeed. Also, may araman kami nga mga after naman sa breastfeeding nila nga journey, mag-complementary feeding naman sila. So we are also training or capacitating our health workers and other non-allied workers to be prepared na and to more advocate, promote and advocate breastfeeding.
So I think that only adds to what Attorney Burley said earlier. Na this is not a one-man responsibility. It's a responsibility where we work together. As Ms. Ivani said, mga agencies ang work hand in hand para continuously support ang mothers and children when it comes to breastfeeding. Thank you so much for all your insights. We really learned so much today. But just one more question na lang, no, for each one of you. This is some kind of like a word of motivation or word of advice. So, siguro, let's go from here na lang until makalabot kita kay Attorney Burley. So, what do you think can mothers say to themselves or to other mothers so that they can continue proudly, openly, and safely choose to breastfeed? Ms. Divy.
medyo challenging din. I am not yet a mother pa, no? Pero I am with and for the mothers, no? In terms of breastfeeding. But one thing, ang gusto ko lang siguro personally on a personal note, and I think seeing in the social media, breastfeeding has been stereotyped differently negative compared before. So, siguro because of the correct and right information that we are receiving from the correct and right offices or agencies man, we have come to learn that breastfeeding is not just because we are not capable of buying formula milk or whatsoever. But one thing is that ang nakita ko sa aton ng mga notes is breastfeeding or a breast milk is start na siya sa good nutrition sa aton na mga kabataan. So, if there are mothers man nga may mga mothers man nga medyo unfortunate in terms of hindi sila makaproduce ang ilang milk, may ara nga mga women na very supportive sa ilang mga fellow women. So, they actually market their breastfeed milk or their milk nga pwede nga sa imo nga bata. So, I can share it to you. So, ako na ang siguro, ang beauty lang when we have come to embrace our womanhood and the purpose of it to our children. So, we have to embrace it and to enjoy breastfeeding. Hopefully, wala na ang stereotype na nahuya kita or basi lain ang perceptions ng tao sa atin because we breastfeed everywhere. But hindi na lang, don't mind, you are a woman.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Miss DV. And to add to your to what you said earlier, there are mothers who struggle with milk production as well. So I would like to add a question, no? Balido additional to sa question nga. What do you think can mothers say to themselves and to other mothers as well to continue proudly, openly, and safely choose to breastfeed? And also, what's your message to those mothers who struggle to breastfeed or feeling nila they don't have enough supply, mga amusin ang mga issues to motivate them?
So in a progressive world, no, a modern woman has many challenges. No? So very important is to stay solid, no, focus on mothering and parenting, and then we're very lucky, no, that giving birth and mothering sa muling century is very well supported. Number one, primarily, we have laws, RA 10028, and then the expanded maternity leave act, which will provide us more time before we go back to work to save milk, to avoid mixed feeding. So the common reason why a woman stop breastfeed or mixed feed is primarily pabalik sa work. So that's our theme for this year is enabling breastfeeding. How can a modern woman not losing her job while still giving breast milk and not affecting ilang economic ilang earnings, no? So muna siya subong so there are laws, and then make sure for a woman, you know your rights, you claim it. Now, so we have support, tama limang sa dole, kung wala na implement, you know where to get help. Right? So if you're struggling with your supply, you have support group, breastfeeding longa. So if you're in depth problems, like your mga bata nyo may problem, or ikaw mismo, so just like us, we are professionals, no? We study human lactation, and also we choose pediatricians and healthcare workers that would support desire to breastfeed. So our goal is not only to breastfeed freely and provide breast milk, but also extend the breastfeeding duration. We're very happy from our events, doing it at SM. For 9 years, organizing Haka, we've seen mothers first baby nila, gamay, second, third baby. they're still breastfeeding. Diba, toddler na, So, we're very happy that our goal, not only to empower women, is also, that we, kada event, may dala na siya kamigay, ang mga upod yun na. So, encouraging, no? So, the power pala of your circle, how you influence a mother within your circle is to inspire them. That is for our future generation, no? So, the healthier generation, healthier Filipino. So, yung economical benefits one, and ang impact it sa health naman ang aton nga primary drive to do it, to protect, promote, and support breastfeeding.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Adhara. And speaking of health naman, sa perspective naman sa DOH, how can you, Ms. Ebony, how can you encourage these breastfeeding mothers or motivate them to continue breastfeeding?
Okay, sige. So, sa health sector naman niya, i-advise lang ni health sector is to our breastfeeding mothers, you are our heroes. So, your commitment and dedication sa inyo paghatag or pagpa-breastfeed sa inyong mga kabataan is very, very highly appreciated yun na siya. Ang kabataan din naton sa uli, pasalamatan yun na nila kamo, yung mga nanay nila, nga naghatag or naghatag isang ilang time sa pagpadede sa ila. So, may ara kita tawag ng first 1,000 days, ma'am, which is amo na siya ang health ng child is very crucial na siya sa ilang brain development, ang ilang neurons. First 1,000 days is 270 days of pregnancy, 180 days sa aton nga breastfeeding, and 550 days ang aton nga complementary feeding with continued breastfeeding. So, to our moms, continue lang ang pag-breastfeed ninyo, and we at the government sectors will, or especially sa DOH, will support you in every and anything we can.
Yes, so if you
Yes. Of course, sa mga nanay natin, hindi naman pagpabayaan ang aton nga health. So, as a nutritionist dietitian, we should eat more, especially kung nagapadede kita. Kaya kung nagapadede kita, kung ginagutom, actually, wala pa man ka experience, pero sa work na lang siguro, samtang nagapadede kita, ginagutom pag kita. So, eat more. So, you need 500 more calories to while you are to replace while you are breastfeeding. So mas damo pa actually ang calories na kinahanglan mo kung nagapalactate ikaw compare sa nagabusong ikaw. So you eat more vegetables, fruits, and any eat more yung hindi ang ma-advise na ako, especially yung mga healthy foods.
right. I think pampalubag loob mo na siya sa mga mothers nga. I know for a fact nga ano na sila doon. Sometimes nag-conscious na nagkatamo.
Nag-self-pity na sila, ma'am.
But then kung nag-breastfeed ka, you can always make it an excuse, no? Nag-breastfeed ko, be mo. But again, like what Miss Ebony said, don't forget to choose ang healthy man nga options for me when we eat, because again, the nutrition of our children come from us. So, okay, last naman, kay Attorney Pearly. So, the same question, Attorney, I'll just repeat. What do you think can mothers say to themselves or to other mothers so they can continue proudly, openly, and safely choose to breastfeed?
The question ay asang Miss Universe, no? What is the essence of a woman? First and foremost, I would like to tell you that you are so blessed, to be able to be a mother, and plus another bonus to be able to feed your child with your own breast milk. So daog nyo ko dira, daog nyo kami ni TV, kaya wala man kami sinaiya na blessed na journey which you are doing. So hindi tanan na babae pwede mo mag-agi sa nga journey. So enjoy your blessing and be thankful always that you are able to nourish your own child. My mom, yes, she did breastfeed 6 of us children, and I know it really helped in the economic ability of a family, to have your own source of nourishment. Hindi siya lalo na ngayon sa buhay na mahirap, na mahal na ang mga bilihin. But I would just like to also say that in SM, we are about choices. Hindi naman nga dahil nag-promote kami sa breastfeeding, hindi na namon gusto makadto diri ang mga hindi nag-breastfeed, no? Syempre, we are all advocating free choices, no? So it's a choice that people make. So everybody is welcome. That's why we are saying in SM, everything is here. Even your choices of what you do to your body and what you feed to your children. But of course, we listen to experts what's best. No? So, hambal lang namon, you are all welcome here and we are happy that we are able to provide a good venue for all of you. Motherhood is a blessing that you all enjoy. And you are the more blessed if to have very supportive environment. Lalo na if you have supportive family members, some of you, partners, parents. Sa Filipino community, ang nanay, maskin diin pa ka muna abroad pa, nagbakadto na dito mamantay sa niya nga ako. And that's what my mom is doing as well, no? She flies to Australia kung may mga bata pa ako mga manggo. So, we are actually, as a Filipino nation, we are blessed because family ties is very important to us. So, I'm sure sa inyo tanan, you always had very good support system, no? So, even sa magpapa-breastfeed ka mo, sa pagpapadako sa mga bata, be happy and be glad that you were born Filipinos because the support system for all of us, the family is very, very important. And so we thank God for that and we thank you all for, always being supportive of also our endeavors here in SM. Hindi ka mo aling dali kung why ka mo nagapamasyar, dali ka naga-shopping. So thank you so much for everything that we are doing here. And again, I would just like to thank our panelists and of course our host. By the way, ikaw man abe, mastorya ka man bisang imo man journey pag okay na mag-end. So, because you said you're so happy that you are part of this panel, no? You are part of this program. So tell us, how did you, what is your journey? Kasi batian ko kagay na you're very thankful for breastfeeding Ilonggas,
Yes.
for the support that you have been given. So tell us your journey as well, so that people will be inspired na, look, guwapa. O, di ba? Amo galing na mga guwapa ang nagpa-breastfeed. So, mga hindi dara, pag-guwapa, pa-breastfeed ka mo, tanawa sila. Tapos na, o, di ba?
Thank you, Attorney Pearly. Actually, back to me, no? I have 2 kids. Both of them are boys. And for my first child, I breastfed him exclusively. I didn't mix feed. And that's because of the help of my support group, especially Ms. Adhara. Sometimes pala may mga instances na enough pa ni. Muna may mga doubts kita mga mothers, no? But then again, this is where the help of our support group comes in. Nga maghambal sa imo nga tsakto lang na enough na para sa bata. Mugamay lang na ilatami, kaya na nasa milk mo, mga amo sila. So I think it's very important for us to surround ourselves with people who understand what we're going through, who have been in the same journey. As for me personally, I got inspired by my sister who was ang child niya was only 5 months older sa akon nga firstborn. So when I saw her nga successful just sa breastfeeding, I said nga, when I was about to give birth, I didn't have any second thoughts nga, magwaan siya yung breastfeed ko. Do wala ko wala doubts nga, ba si kulang ni milk. I never had that thought. So that's why when I went to the hospital, I didn't bring a bottle. I didn't bring milk. I didn't accept the prescription formula because I was confident that I will have milk even if I didn't see it coming out. Even if wala na siya puswak mo na or because we cannot expect that to happen on the first day. But I was, again, dedicated because that's what you want for your child. So I guess it really helps that you are surrounded by people who are maybe not always successful in the journey but who understand the struggles. And so even though I wanted to prolong breastfeeding ko for my first child, unfortunately there was, I wasn't, during my second pregnancy, it was delicate, so I really had to stop because there was, may mga involved na nga hindi na make for breastfeeding na during my time. So even though I didn't extend, naka 30 months man kami sa firstborn ko, and I'm still breastfeeding my second. We are now on our first year and 6th month, and I have no plans of stopping. I will stop when my son is ready. So yeah, that's it for me. It's all for the child, so it's not really for my own pleasure or for my own comforts or for our financial status, whatever. It's for the child, first and foremost. Yeah, that's how it is. Yes, okay, so thank you, Gid, for the opportunity for me to share my story as well. As mentioned earlier, si SM nag-listen Gid sa stories na gina-share sa mga people inside and outside the mall. So thank you for that opportunity, Attorney Pearly. And that wraps up our candid conversation with our panelists. So once again, thank you so much to our guests for generously sharing your insights and stories. And we hope that our audience has also picked up a lot of information. I'm sure they did. And thank you as well to those who were able to answer my quick questions earlier. And I hope that with this event, we can continue to create safe spaces, not only in malls, but anywhere around us. You know, let's be the safe space that other mothers need. And at this point, we would like to invite our panelists for a photo shoot opportunity on stage. We'd like to call on our photographers. Those are bloggers who'd like to take photos here in front. And of course, we would also like to invite our guests to join for a group photo.